What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday. We're back at it with another game of picking predictions for NFL. We're going to start here with Thursday night football. We have the Cowboys versus the Giants. Cowboys are due for a W. They've been favorites almost every single game, and they have 2 losses under their belt against 2 fairly good opponents. I think that the Cowboys are going to come out here with a W, 24-13. Giants still not the one. They're struggling on offense. Their defense is having a hard time keeping teams contained. So I think the Dak Prescott gang is going to run all over this team. Next, we have Sunday 1 o'clock games. We have the Saints versus the Falcons. Falcons are looking really strong. They're close games. Very close. Within 3-4 points. I think their time to show that they can beat teams that are good. Saints have a very strong start to the season, and I think the Falcons are going to give them their second loss. It's going to be 26-21. This next Sunday, we have the Bears versus the Rams. Bears are favored in this one. Their offense looking a little spotty in pretty much every single play, but I do think that the Bears could come out into the W on this one. Very small margin. I would flip a coin for this game, but I do have the Bears winning 21-20. This following Sunday we have is another rivalry game. We have the Packers versus the Vikings. Lots of history in this game. We're going to be going down to Lambeau Field, but I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to hold on. I think the Vikings are too strong for this one. I think they're going to stay in this game till about halftime, third quarter, and the Vikings are going to take off. Vikings are going to start the season 4-0. They're going to be one of the few teams to start the season 4-0. They're going to win this game 36-20. I know Green Bay's favored. I think the Vikings have something special here, and I think they could potentially be playoff contenders. Next game we have is the Steelers versus the Colts. Steelers are favored in this one just slightly, but I do think that the Colts are going to give the Steelers their first loss. They're due for a loss here, and I think they're going to lose here in Indianapolis to the Colts by 28-27. Next Sunday game we have is the Jets versus the Broncos. Broncos suck. No offense to you Broncos fans, your team is bad. That's just how it is, and I think that Aaron Rodgers for the Jets is going to take off. Not like too crazy, they don't really score tons of points, but I do think they're going to dominate this game, majority of the game. It's going to be a slow touchdowns here over the course of the 4 quarters, but eventually you're going to win 24-10. Next we have is the Buccaneers coming off that devastating loss, and they're playing against the Eagles. Eagles have not been showing huge promise. At the beginning of the season, I would have had them as playoff contenders, but as of right now, week 4, I just not seeing it. But I do think they'll come into Tampa, win just barely. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Huge dogfight. I have it at 14-10. Next game we have is the Bengals versus Carolina. The Bengals have started the season 0-3. That's nothing new to the Bengals. They start seasons off with the worst starting record, and they come back to damn near make it to the Super Bowl. So I think this is their time to show their first win against this mediocre Panther team and show that they actually can be playoff contenders. So I have them winning 30-20, but the problem that I have with the Bengals, their offense has been looking very sluggish. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a lot closer than what I have here is predicted. Next Sunday we have is the Texans versus the Jaguars. The Jags are starting the season off 0-3, struggling, but I think they're due for a win. I think they're due for a win this one, and I think they're going to go into Houston and just barely win. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to prove something here after that big contract, and I think this is the game to show it. They're going to win 21-17. Next game here, 4 o'clock, first evening game we have is the Cardinals versus the Commanders. Who would have thought the Commanders would have started the season off 2-1? I did not have that in my predictions when it came to their record, but the Cardinals have been looking pretty sharp. They might have lost 2 games. Lost 2 games to very strong opponents by very small margin. I lost to the Bills week 1 by a touchdown. They lost to Detroit last week by another touchdown. I think that this is their chance to get over that hump and play a team that's looking pretty strong, and the Commanders have been showing some strength this season. So I do have them winning 30-27. It's going to be a high-scoring matchup, tons of offense, This evening game we have is San Francisco versus the Patriots. Both starting the season off 1-2. Both not looking too great overall. San Francisco looking worse because they were the team that was expected to have great things. Coming off of that hard loss in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, but it's looking like they're having a hard time in the regular season as well. But I think this is the game that they can turn it around. And I think they're going to beat the Patriots at home 19-10. I think it's going to be a slow game, low scoring, and even the spread has that low scoring because if you look at previous games, their offense have not been looking too strong. Next Sunday, this 4:25 game we have is Cleveland versus the Raiders. Another situation like the previous matchup. We have is 1-2 teams, both not high-scoring offenses. The Raiders coming off that devastating loss against Andy Dalton, Carolina, and I think this is their chance to turn around, and I think they're going to win at home 17-12 against the Browns. Browns have not been looking too good. Their offense has seen better days. They barely scoring 15 points a game, and it's just not looking too good for the Browns, so I have the Raiders coming out on this one 17-12. Next evening game we have is the Chiefs versus the Chargers. The Chiefs, we're going to see a lot of night games out of them. They're always going to be in the dark. And that's just how it's going to be. They are the team that makes the most money, but I don't think they're going to win this game. I think the Chargers are going to give the Chiefs their first loss. I know last week I said that they were due for a loss, but this time I'm serious. Chargers are going to win 31-28. I'm not a Mahomes hater. Mahomes is a great quarterback, but I do think that the Chargers can win this at home, potentially. Primetime game of the week, we have the Bills versus the Ravens. Another slugfest coming your way. I think the Bills are due for a loss. Josh Allen looking phenomenal. He's going to be doing his best, but Lamar Jackson at home is going to try to bring his team together to get that dub. These are both Super Bowl contender teams, and I think Lamar Jackson is going to edge a victory out of this one, 27-24. First Monday night banger we have is the Titans versus the Dolphins. Dolphins, rest in peace their quarterback, rest in peace their offensive drive. They're not going to be scoring a lot of points this one. Like last week, they only scored 3. Hopefully, they get that Skyler kid out of here, and they can get someone who can actually throw the ball and move around the pocket. But if that doesn't happen, they ain't scoring any points. And I think the Titans are going to take advantage and get their first W over the Dolphins this Monday. Last game of the week we have is the Lions versus the Seahawks. The Lions are going to win this game. By how much is a question. Seahawks have been looking sharp, but this last weekend, they beat a Dolphins team that was trash. You can't even use that as a metric. In the previous 2 wins, they played Denver and the Patriots week 1, and those teams are bad. And that's 3-0, I think, is a sham. I think they're going to get their first loss against some real talent, and it's going to be to the Lions at home, 24-21. And that's going to be it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Peace.